Cedarville, California. This is KCFJ, Alturas, reaching out to you.
The following broadcast is paid for by the Voice of Freedom Radio, Doug Knox and Ross Jones. The opinions expressed do not necessarily reflect the views of radio station KCFJ or VDI Media Incorporated, its management, or its staff. The station is not responsible for statements made in this program. Anyone who would like to purchase equal time to air opinions regarding the issues discussed is encouraged to do so.
Hello, America. Welcome to the Voice of Freedom Radio, the voice of rural America. You are in tune to KCFJ 570 AM. Our studio is located in Alturas, California, right in the heart of Modoc County. Our environmental message is the 3 C's plan: clean air, clean water, and common sense. We cherish our Constitution, the Declaration of Independence. We spread the truth and will not give up our God, guns, property rights, nor any of our freedoms. This program is sponsored by the Voice of Freedom Radio. I am Doug.
I am Ross.
Ross, what's happening to our President Obama lately? Seems like he's got his tail caught in the door.
Well, Doug, the other night, Thursday night to be exact, he made a speech about immigration and amnesty. In my mind, his actions are intended to destroy the sovereignty of our great nation.
You're right, Ross.
I think people are beginning to wake up to his plan. The reason for his speech on the 20th of November was a celebration similar to our 4th of July. So I really have to question his motives. It seems strange that he would want to coordinate with Mexico about a celebration and at the same time initiate programs that will only harm the sovereignty of the United States of America.
This president's got some weird ways, Ross. If he's such a big fan for Mexico, why didn't he go down and get that Tamarisi out of that jail down there when the guy really, he was a vet, and he'd go in and get Afghanistan, and it don't seem right.
Tamarisi, well, in my opinion, is a hero. Obama feels differently. He feels that it's just another thorn in his side, and one that he could avoid. But Doug, there's another movement going on. It just started the other day down in Sacramento.
What's that about, Ross?
Well, the sheriff of Sacramento County, this wonderful man, Mr. Scott Jones, has come out and charged President Obama with being culpable in the death of those 2 wonderful deputies last month. He is calling for an all-out protest against the president and his agenda. This is indicative of the general attitude of the population about the president and his many agendas, but particularly the destruction of the United States and its identity by opening up a floodgate of people we know nothing about.
Well, that's what he's trying to do, Ross. The President of the United States is trying to change this government that we love and honor because you have freedom, and basically everybody that goes to school, they can advance however they want to, and he wants to destroy this country.
Well, Doug, up until a few years ago, we were the most prosperous country in the world. Today, we've lost that title. We've lost that privilege. And we have lost it because there are those that wish to see a one world order formed. And by opening up the southern border of this nation to whoever wishes to come in, ISIS, cartels, any number of people who are intent on doing evil to us.
Well, there's more one way to do evil. All of these children that come across the border back a month or two ago, some of them can't even speak English. And he brings them across, lets them across, because it was brought out in the news media, and it was brought out by the one I think everybody can trust, and that's a Fox News network, that he brought them over here, and then what he did was they went and put them on airplanes. Then they took them over to California, they took them up to these other states, and they dumped them off. And all of that puts a financial burden on each school district, and it takes away financially the right of our own citizens to have a proper education, and they suffer for that, and this man does not care.
Not only does he not care, but now he's talking about issuing them driver's licenses. And what have we found in the last few weeks about illegals and driving?
Well, it seems like that them two sheriffs that was down there, one in Sacramento County and one in Placer County, that sort of hit right close to home here.
Well, they were both patriots.
I understand that. But the thing is, they died protecting the people in this country from the illegals that this President of the United States wants to come in here and load us down in our schools, our economics of the country. He don't care if they're criminals or not. In fact of the matter, they even released a bunch of criminals. I don't understand how this man, president, ever got elected.
Well, he came across with hope and change, and no one really took the time to study his definition of change.
Well, when he was running, I don't understand. The man runs for office, and he says one thing. Of course, he's not been telling the truth ever since he got into office. The only thing he does
I don't think he knows how to tell the truth.
All he does every day, if a person says something, he believes it, and it's not true, we can call that a mistake. But when he knows it's not true and he says it, that ain't nothing but a bald-faced lie. This man has been lying through his teeth, basically, for the last 6 years.
Well, Doug, I happen to believe it goes further back than that. But be that as it may, let's look to our future. And our future has to be built on a foundation without this liberal socialist agenda.
Yeah, but that's what Obama is pushing. He is pushing a socialist agenda. He does not want this country to succeed.
It's not so much to cause a failure of enterprise, but it's more of the philosophy that we have to be equal, man to man, country to country. And doggone it, we spent 250 years in this country being better than equal.
Yeah, but Ross, come on. He goes and he runs for president, and he goes to Joe the plumber, and he says that he wants to transform the wealth. Then he comes in and says a few days before he is actually takes office that he has got this short period of time before he's going to transform the United States of America. Now, what does that mean?
Well, it means now, in retrospect, we can see what it means. It means that he no longer wishes the United States of America to be a sovereign nation.
No, he don't. But here's the thing that people don't really understand, and yet the socialistic party in this country tells the people what they want to do. Fact of the matter, when the Obama, when he had executive order and he told all 25 of his cabinet members, listen, ladies and gentlemen, we're not making this up. Obama passed a ordinance
well, it was executive fiat.
Yeah,
wherein he directed his administration to push all of the agencies, all of the three-letter agencies, the EPA.
You're right, that's what he did. But what did he tell them? I want you, my cabinet members, to push for every environmental issue that was signed off on that treaty in Rio in 90, controlling the environmental laws of the United States. Well, they had, in other words, he told his 25 cabinet members, we have to conform to what the UN wanted.
Well, here's a perfect example. Just
give us one.
A few days ago, he was in China. And what did he do in China? He committed us to further reduce carbon emissions and allowed the greatest polluter in the world.
Well, that's a good word. How do you spell that word?
Well, I'm not too good at spelling, Doug, but
I won't hold you to it.
The whole idea was to allow China another 2 or 3 decades to start to comply
with climate change.
Yeah, of course.
But the thing is, they've been proven that climate change is not really true. How many times do you have to prove it to these people?
Well, there you go. I think Gruber can do best in identifying the way to prove that.
Well,
and all you got to do is realize that all the citizens of the United States of America
are stupid. You think the president's been Gruberized in the last week or two?
Well, I think it's gone the other way for several years. I think Gruber's been listening to Gomer too long.
But the thing is, the Fox News Network is taking a good hit on the fact is that they are coming forward with the truth. When you got Fox News putting this on, according to the Fox News, about Gooberizing 775 times, and the other channels, oh, did you hear anything? Not really.
Oh, it's not newsworthy. The American people are just too stupid to comprehend that.
Yeah, but the thing is, the news networks, other than Fox News, basically, they're in bed with our Gooberized president. Especially when they go back to 2010 and they show a video of the president saying that he can't do what he actually did last Thursday evening. It's illegal, he says. I am not a king. I am not a prince.
Well, here we go again. The prince, and they use that with a small letter P. The prince is now going after the Keystone Pipeline. And they're coming out and telling us all about, well, it's not about America, it's about Canada, it's about dirty oil. That's all a lie.
That's all he's been doing since he's been in office. What do you expect?
It goes back to climate change, which is the new philosophy supporting Agenda 21 and sustainable living.
That's what people, they heard about Agenda 21 because we've talked about it, and really, I think it turns them off, but Agenda 21 is nothing but sustainable timber, sustainable agriculture, sustainable this, smart growth, even these smart meters that they put on your electric deal. And it's actually insane what this man is doing. Why would he tell, again, I got to bring this up, folks, why would he tell his 25 members
of his cabinet
of the cabinet to enforce what was signed off on the agenda, the environmental agenda, and Rio. Now, that's what he's telling them. So let me explain to you what they are.
What are they, Doug? Tell me.
Well, it says right here, according to the UN's Biodiversity Assessment Report, biodiversity, folks, is the land. That's what they call our land. That's their biodiversity. Items for our everyday lives that are not sustainable. That means that we can't have them, okay?
I understand that.
You realize if you want to go skiing, you can't have any ski runs because they don't want you to disturb the soil.
Well, it's compacting the soil too much, I guess.
Another thing that they don't want, and this is where the sage grouse comes in. No livestock grazing. That's what there's... Now, why has he got Sally Jewell running all over the West Coast looking like she's chasing one of those decoys on a Fox Pro live call and saying that they have to have because of the sage grouse? That sage grouse is not in this. That is a tool. What can they get the ranchers and farmers?
Doug, they have a whole garage, if you will, full of tools.
Yeah.
Okay, they've had the spotted owl. They've had the sage grouse. They've had the prairie dogs. They've had I don't know how many other issues.
But you're forgetting one thing.
Oh, the berry shrimp. I forgot about that.
Well, that's berry shrimp also. But in order to get the ranchers and farmers off of the federal land and BLM land, they had to come up with one item that they could use. It's all one item. It even goes into two parts of Canada up there. It's the sage grouse. That sage grouse has nothing to do with this, what we're trying to do.
Of course, Doug. It's smoke and mirrors, similar to our whole budget philosophy in the United States. But we have to realize that we are being utilized by those that wish to line their pockets at our expense.
Yeah, you're right. But what he's doing is running everything up in price. Of course. Why is hamburger $4.25 a pound? Why? Because did the folks know that Mr. Obama over in the state of New Mexico, he just put into some monument over there 500,000 acres, and that's up there in the hills, foothills, and the mountains where the cattlemen run their cattle. And guess what?
Oh, that's also prime logging country too.
Yeah, but there's another thing that they did. You ever heard of the New Mexico jumping mouse?
I don't know.
You ever seen one?
No, I haven't, Doug.
Well, if you go over there in Mexico, over in New Mexico, they ordered the forestry department to take and go up there in those mountain meadows and put 6-foot fence all the way around it so that it would protect the jumping mouse, New Mexico jumping mouse. But here's another thing. The politicians is in this. Did you know that in the stimulus funds that Nancy Pelosi in San Francisco got $14 million?
Another jumping mouse?
No, this is another mouse. This is a marsh mouse.
Marsh? Oh,
marsh. You know, like a marsh?
Doug, I've heard marsh mouse since 1989 down in Alviso, which is the southern tip of the bay. It's a fraud to begin with.
I understand it. So is the President of the United States. His policies are fraud because they don't make sense. He says one day that he don't have the power, everything to do it, and a month later he comes out and he's doing it. This guy don't know what truth means.
Well, that's part of the way I see his raising and upbringing. He doesn't know what truth is. He doesn't know what a great country can be.
I'll tell you what. I want to give a little commercial here, and then I got some announcements to make, and we'll go on from there. And maybe we can find out the different type of mouses around here, okay?
All right.
Ladies and gentlemen, this program is being sponsored by the Voice of Freedom Radio. We come on KCFJ, 570 AM every Saturday at 12 noon for 30 minutes, but we don't really hang on there maybe 30 minutes because we've been going 40 and 50 minutes and an hour to get our points out. We appreciate all of you nice people out there listening to it, and we got a lot of feedback from last week's program. Now, Ross, you live in Fall River Mill.
I do.
Now, my Mayor's Hospital is where?
It's right down the street. It's 4 miles from my house.
And if you don't know about it, I'll come in and help you, but go ahead.
It's wonderful to see the response that we got from our show. And the people in Fall River Mills are struggling. They see the hospital, Mayor's Hospital, as the glowing light in Fall River Mills.
It's dying a slow death.
It's dying a slow death. And why? Because in California, it's illegal for a district hospital to hire its own doctor.
There's another reason why, too.
And that is
the population that's being run off our rural areas. For instance, they used to have down in Fall River Mills, I read this. I did.
Okay.
They used to have a whole lot of people that lived there, and in cold winter and that they have them little babies, right?
Yep. Well, that was before television, so wasn't it, Doug?
I don't know. I think it was not that far back.
Oh, okay.
But what happened is the state of California, what have they done so far to run people off the rural areas?
Well, they've made it impossible for us seniors to live in rural areas.
Well, about a year and a half ago, do you remember when the state of California come out with that septic tank rule? Anybody that lives in a rural area, you would have to put in a septic tank, and they wanted it anywhere from $30,000 to $40,000 to put it in, and then every 5 years you had to pump it out, have it homogenized, pasteurized, and all that good stuff.
Well, fortunately, a large part of that fell by the wayside because people realized that it was just a fraud.
Yeah, but Sacramento's got more frauds than what we know about, see? The next one come down the road. What was that? How about the CAL FIRE tax? Them people...
Well, wait a minute. That's not a tax. That's a fee.
It is?
Well, it was a tax, and then it was a fee, and now it's a... Nobody really knows except George Runner, and he's the only one that's fighting it.
No. Pam Giacomini knew, too. Because when she was on that forestry CAL FIRE board, she wanted $90.
Well, that's all part of the Farm Bureau, and they know more than we do about anything we need to know about.
So the CAL FIRE tax, okay? Now that's up to $150, and the gubernator of California, he says it ought to have a little increase every year. You know what I mean? Like maybe $2, $3 a year.
Sure.
It's going up out of sight.
Sure.
But guess what? Another fraud come out of Sacramento.
Wait a minute. Almost every politician in Sacramento is a fraud.
I understand that. But guess what come out? Now, if we have an ag well and we want to pump our own ag well and make some money, like in farming, we don't have any surface water. We have to turn around and pay the NEQA, which turns around and pays the state. Gee whiz.
Well, wait a minute. Katie Burdick's really helping out there. I mean, she's generated the Pitt River Water Improvement Plan.
That IRWM.
Of course. But let's go back to Mayor's Hospital for a minute and finish that discussion.
Oh, okay, here we go.
The current CEO of Mayor's is a phenomenal commander-in-chief, if you will. He sees a way around the destruction of the hospital and he is pursuing everything with the support of all the people in the Fall River Valley. And Matt Rees, thank you. If we can help, we will be happy to do that.
Yeah, but the thing is, they're not getting enough baby birds getting down there to come in, and it don't pay for itself because they have to have an anesthesiologist there. That's what's wrong with all county hospitals. They can't afford a heart doctor, a urologist, a neurologist, anesthesiologist, and they can't afford that. And this is what's happening.
Well, and that's intentional. If the big cities can pay outrageous salaries to a young doctor fresh out of college, fresh out of med school, he's not going to want to go take care of a community of 200-300 people.
That's right. So the thing is,
using economics, the federal government, along with the state of California, has found a way to drive us out of the rural area and back into the big cities.
That is what the President of the United States wants, and that's what the governor of Sacramento, California down there wants, and they're all part of the same. It's like having them two in front of you, your buggy, you know, and you got the leashes on them.
Yep.
They're pulling the buggy, and they're both in step.
Right. But, Doug, we started to talk about what was going on in Modoc County here, and those people that are listening to us religiously, tell us more about it.
Ladies and gentlemen, do you know that we have part of the California State Militia right here in Modoc County? It's called the Modoc Platoon.
You know, Doug, my relationship to militias goes back to 1779, New York State.
You that old?
No, but my family members were there, and then one of them was a captain in the militia.
Sure glad you got that.
So I have a great deal of respect for them. But these fellows are putting up emergency stations along the bike ride paths. They're doing more than what the average citizen realizes. They're doing whatever they can to benefit the county of Modoc.
I understand they have about 25 to 30 members, and they support the Constitution, and they aid all government agencies in emergency, and I imagine if there was emergencies here in Alturas, that they would be right there ready to give a hand. They, I know that they got a 2-mile stretch of Highway 299 just west of the city that they go and they remove and clean up all the litter, and that's wonderful. If that also they provided medical stations for the 100-mile bicycle ride that occurred around the month of September here in Modoc County. And did you know anything about that?
What they stand ready to do whatever's needed in Modoc County, and I take my hat off to them for their dedication to those citizens of Modoc County.
You're right, Ross. And guess who? You got a Jason Keene who leads this Modoc platoon, and he is noted for basically the training that these people are getting. And they're, a lot of them are, I understand it, are EMTs. So if they go out in the community and there's an accident or something there, and some of these people show up, what do you got? You got an EMT standing right there wanting to help you.
You know, there's a biblical quote that says to these essence, no greater good can man do than to help fellow man. And that's what these Modoc militia volunteers are doing.
Ladies and gentlemen, they meet every Wednesday at 5 p.m. at the Federated Church in Alturas. That's just east of the Sheriff's Annex there, off the courthouse. And everybody is welcome to attend. And I've heard plenty of feedback from this organization. It's truly good organization. Folks, next Saturday is the 29th of November, and the program again on the Mayor's Memorial Hospital, along with the Mountain Valley clinics. They've got a lot going on down there, folks, and we're going to play that because of the Thanksgiving and whatever. So all I got to say, if you got a turkey on the table, folks, just take a leg and grab root and growl, ladies and gentlemen. Until next week, at this very same time, from Alturas, good day, America.
The preceding program was paid for by the Voice of Freedom Radio, Doug Knox and Ross Jones. The opinions expressed do not necessarily reflect the views of radio station KCFJ or of EDI Media Incorporated, its management, or its staff. This station is not responsible for statements which have been made. Anyone who would like to purchase equal time to air opinions regarding the issues discussed is encouraged to do so.